You sit through a 1-hour meeting. Everyone nods, and somehow nothing actually happens. By Monday, the decision has evaporated. The owner is still we. The deadline is soon. Two people swear you agreed to opposite things, and both have notes to prove it. So you do the work twice. Once in the meeting, and again repairing the damage after. Notes feel productive, but they are not outcomes. Moving to slide 2. A document that says what you talked about is not the same as a commitment to do something. If your notes read like a recap, you are collecting words, not progress. Convert every important moment into a next step that can be verified. A task needs one explicit owner, not a group, not a department, not a thread. A date needs consequences, meaning someone will check it, and something changes if it slips. Write what will happen next, not everything that was said before. Clarity beats completeness, because clarity creates motion. If your notes cannot drive action without you being in the room, they are not doing their job. Moving to slide 3. Most meeting notes fail in the same places. First, decision language gets mushy. We should, let's, and it would be good to are not decisions. Second, dependencies stay invisible. The task looks simple until you realize it needs legal, data, design, and an approval no one mentioned. Third, nothing triggers escalation when things go late. So deadlines drift quietly until the work becomes an emergency. Add on top of that, no single source of truth, and follow-up that relies on someone's memory or goodwill. The result is predictable. Confusion, rework, and awkward check-ins that should have been automatic. Moving to slide 4. This is where a simple AI job actually helps. Not write better notes, extract decisions and actions from whatever was said, and format them the same way every time. Normalize owners and dates, so Sarah, S, and marketing do not become 3 different people, and end of week becomes a real day. Detect blockers and risks by flagging missing dependencies, unclear approvals, or tasks that have no owner. Then draft the follow-up messages for each owner, with the exact ask, the due date, and the blocker question if something is missing. Finally, keep tracking status until it is done, so progress does not depend on you remembering to chase people. Moving to slide 5. Pick one output your meeting always produces. Not a transcript, a decision log, not a list of bullets, an action register.
Each line should be testable. What was decided, or what will be delivered?
Tie owners to roles, so the work survives org changes, but still name the single person accountable today. Tie dates to milestones, not vibes, so Friday means ready for review or shipped. List blockers explicitly, even if it feels uncomfortable, because hidden blockers are where timelines die. When every meeting ends with the same clean artifact, the meeting finally pays for itself. Moving to slide 6. If an action item has more than one owner, it has 0 owners. We will handle it feels polite, but it silently removes accountability. You want one name, one commitment, written down. That person is responsible for the outcome, not for doing every task personally. Still, teams need help. So list helpers as support, not co-owners. Make it explicit. Owner Sam. Support Priya for legal review. Jordan for data pull. That keeps collaboration without diluting responsibility. Also define an approval owner. If a deliverable needs sign-off, write who can say yes. Otherwise, you get late-stage stalls where nobody has authority. And document handoffs. If Sam is owning the work until design is complete, and then it transfers to Alex for implementation, write the exact moment the baton moves, and what artifact transfers with it. No shared accountability. One owner means one person can wake up and know, with 0 confusion, what must be true, and by when. Moving to slide 7. A deadline without a definition is a suggestion. Start by separating start date from due date. The start date is when the owner begins work or kicks off dependencies. The due date is when the deliverable is ready for consumption. Then decide if it is hard or soft. A hard deadline has an external cost if missed, like a launch window, a contract, or payroll. A soft deadline is internal pacing. If you do not label this, people will assume different stakes and plan differently. Include a definition of done inside the deadline. Not draft, not review, but the finished state. Approved by legal, merged to main, and deployed to production. Lock the time zone and the format. Friday becomes Fri 2026 0724 5 p.m. PT. If your team spans regions, this prevents quiet misunderstandings. Always set a fallback date too. If the primary date slips, what is the next acceptable date? When dates are defined like this, conversations turn into commitments you can actually track. Moving to slide 8. Meetings produce words. Execution needs tickets. Capture actions as one action per line, so nothing hides inside a paragraph. Write verb first, outcome second. Draft onboarding email sequence beats onboarding emails. Then add a link to source context, like the doc, clip, or thread that explains why the ticket exists. List dependencies as a checklist, not as vague notes. Waiting on finance becomes finance confirms pricing tier rules. Checkboxes make blocking visible. Set priority in the meeting while everyone is present. If priority is left for later, it becomes political or it becomes forgotten. When you do this consistently, you stop debating what was meant and start moving a clear set of actions forward, which is where good automation can start asking better questions. Moving to slide 9. A useful AI does not just transcribe, it pushes back. If it hears ambiguity, it asks what you meant. If an item has no owner, it flags it. If there is no date, it forces a choice. If someone says risk or might, it captures the risk and asks for a mitigation. If a decision is implied but not confirmed, it asks whether it is final or pending. That is how momentum survives the meeting. Moving to slide 10. Follow-up is not nagging when the cadence is predictable. Send the same-day recap while context is fresh. It should include the ticket list, the single owner for each item, and the defined due dates. Then do a 48-hour owner confirmation. The owner replies with either confirmed or a specific correction, scope, dependency, or date. This is where misunderstandings surface early, when change is cheap. At the midpoint, send a progress ping. Keep it binary, on track, at risk, or blocked. If it is blocked, the owner must name what they need and from whom. On the due date morning, do a final check. The owner confirms delivery time or triggers the fallback date immediately. If it goes overdue, use an escalation ladder, not a surprise. First to the owner, then to the approval owner, then to the team lead with the impact spelled out. Consistent cadence turns follow-up into infrastructure, and escalation stays calm because it is already agreed. Moving to slide 11. When a decision is stuck, escalate without drama. Don't say, any update. Ask for the decision that's needed. Can you approve option A or option B? Give 2 concrete options with the smallest difference that still moves work forward. Then name the risk of delay in plain terms. If this waits until Friday, we miss the vendor slot and the launch slips a week. Request a new committed date, not a vague promise. If you can't decide today, what date will you commit to? And close the loop publicly in the same thread where the work lives. Confirmed, Alex to choose A or B by Wednesday 3 p.m. No shame, no heat. Just clarity that protects the timeline and the team. The kind you can track on one clean owner dashboard. Moving to slide 12. Keep an owner dashboard that fits on one page. Every commitment, one owner, one due date. Sort by due date, so the next risk is always at the top. Highlight blockers in red, surface aging tasks weekly, and list decisions waiting for sign-off like their inventory. When someone asks, "Where is this?" you don't explain. You point to the line item and the committed date, and the room calms down fast. Moving to slide 13. Upgrade your next meeting by running it like a commitments review. Start with last time's promises and mark them done or renegotiated. Kill status updates and keep only decisions and blockers. End with a quick owner roll call. Each person states their next commitment and due date. Schedule any follow-up before you hang up. Then make one subscription request. Subscribe for more tools you can use immediately. And drop a comment with one decision you're waiting on right now so you can rewrite the ask and get it unstuck. Tools evolve. Principles endure.